Hey, how you doing? Welcome to a sort of chill out video, and I'm going to be covering some Texas Chainsaw Massacre releases that I have on Blu Ray. I thought with the new film coming onto Netflix tomorrow, it's a good time to talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, I think it's one of the best horror films ever made. The original, it's utterly fantastic. I watched it earlier. It's so surreal and macabre, as it says, and it's just great. And I thought I'd show a few of these releases I have on Blu-ray of the series. So starting with this very old release, it's a DVD, as you can see, from Universal Pictures. It's a digipack. Comes with a nice book as well. Could probably do with a bit of a clean. It's got a little bit dusty. I think it's faded over the years because, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, 2002 this was released. Obviously the film's from 1974, set in 1973. That's the release in question. So yeah, quite a gory image on the front. So you take it out, pop that down, you can see that. There's the digipack, and you have your disc. I mean, you can pick this one up at quite a good price, I think, still from pre-owned sellers. Obviously, it doesn't retail brand new anymore, but there's a little look at it. It's got a booklet. Well, I say booklet, it's more of a nice book. It's got a leather look to it. Obviously, it's not leather, it's just like a hard card. And you open it up, it's got Texas Chainsaw Massacre there. The back is just blank. This is a DVD release, by the way, and there's a shot there. A little bit of glare. Try and get rid of that. So I'll try and show most of the book off, to be fair. It's got Pam on the hook. Crazy scene. I mean, the original film, it's got more blood than I thought it had in it. I mean, a lot of people always say, oh, you know, it's not the goriest of films, which it isn't, and a lot of it's left to the imagination. But there is actually, you do see more spurts of blood, and sadly at the end of the film's covered in blood after she's been knifed by nubbins running after her down the entrance to the farm. That's another look. That's another page. It's just got write-ups on the film. Really nice though. I love it how it's kind of very horizontal. There's Leatherface. A little bit of information there. A little short biography on Toby Hooper, or Tobe Hooper, as some people like to say. And at the time, you could also get an authentic poster. So it says, to receive your free original full-size theatrical poster, please send a postcard with your full name and address along with a cheque for $1.99. So that's a little bit different. I never did get that. I never actually got one of those. But nowadays, you just get the editions with the posters, like Arrow do limited editions with posters, and 88 Films, Second Sight do it. I don't think Second Sight have posters actually, but Arrow and 88 do it. Scream Factory obviously do it. But yeah, there's my Texas Chainsaw Massacre DVD, which I'll always keep. It's pretty cool. I'll probably never watch it again because I'm hoping this film's going to get a 4K at some point when it's its 50th anniversary. In a couple of years, I'm hoping it's good. Hopefully it'll get a 4K release. It's got a 4K scan because I believe the Second Sight Blu Ray from a few years ago, which I own, has a 4K scan on it. So hopefully a UHD comes out. I'm sure it will. I think there's one released in Germany, but we need a good UK or US edition of it. Maybe Second Sight will do it again. So, and this is the Second Sight edition I'm talking about. I've got this steel book, 2 discs. It's very nice. It's in a protective cover. I did watch the film again earlier and it really holds up. It's definitely one of my favourites. You know, it's the best of the series. It's got the best feel to it, the best scenes. It's got some good characters. I mean, Franklin is annoying as hell, but he does really make up the scenery. You know, he's always moaning and groaning, but he's a great character. The cook's really good. He's credited as the old man on the credits, but the cook's pretty cool. Drayton Sawyer. This is the Steelbook edition. Open up a little bit. It's very nice from Second Sight. You've got your bonus disc with all the features on. I think it's got the documentary, The Shocking Truth, which talks about the film and its production. 2 discs. Their first disc has got the movie on. Black and white photograph of Leatherface. I'm just going to pop that there for a sec and talk, because I wanted to pull all of my Blu-rays out, but I did forget one. So I'll pop that there, which is number 2. So in preparation for the new movie, I thought, well, I'll go through the older ones, but I decided not to watch everything. Like, I don't want to watch The Next Generation at the moment again, because it's an absolute stinker. It's a bit of a turd of a movie, really. I've seen it, but I haven't got Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I'm not too keen on that one. It's in the same sort of vein as number 4, The Next Generation. To me, it's a bit of a stinker. I do need to revisit it. I would like to pick it up, so I've got all of them, but we'll have to wait. But that's the Steelbook. Very nice. Pop that away. So yeah, I watched the remake from 2003, which I think's excellent and really holds up as well. And last night I watched the 2006 follow-up to the remake from 2003, The Beginning, which is a prequel, which is very gory. Again, it's got Ali Ermey in it as Sheriff Hoyt, like the remake, and he steals the show, and it's everything a Chainsaw movie should be, really. It's got Leatherface's menacing in it. It shows his origin story to some degree from when he's older. It's one of the goriest entries, I'd say, one of the bloodiest, but nonetheless, and then I watched the original earlier, and I'm possibly going to watch this one, and they'll be the only 4 I'll watch before the new one hits Netflix. So this is number 2. It's directed by Toby Hooper again. It's got Bill Moseley in it as Chop Top, because obviously Nubbins gets killed at the end of the first film, as you know, if you've seen it, which I'm assuming you have if you would watch this video. So you have him, Chop Top, played by Bill Moseley, who's also in films like The House of Thousand Corpses and, well, the whole trilogy of those films, Devil's Rejects, 3 from Hell. Those Rob Zombie movies. But this is the Arrow Video edition, by the way. They did bring out a limited edition of it, like a digipack. I know the card was a little softer on it, but it did look really nice, and I'm still contemplating picking it up, but at the moment I'll stick with this one because it does the job. It's got the alternative artwork there, the original poster with the whole gang. This one's crazy. It's more of a comedy, same director again as the original, but it's got a bigger budget, obviously. There's more gore in it. It's very tongue-in-cheek. Bill Moseley's fantastic. He's a show stealer in the film. Dennis Hopper's fantastic in it as well. He's really good. Little look on the back, but that's the sequel, so hopefully I'll get that one in before the new film hits Netflix. And going in order, The Next Generation, which I don't want to talk about too much. It's got early performances from like Renée Zellweger in it and Matthew McConaughey, and it's just terrible. They try to sort of recreate the sort of feel of the first film a little bit with the storyline, but it doesn't really work out, and it's not very gory, and Leatherface is a cross-dresser, and it's just great, as you can see on the front. I mean, this cover, the film doesn't do the cover justice. This Scream Factory edition looks fantastic. It's got a great slip. The artwork looks fantastic. Leatherface looks really cool there, even though he's cross-dressing, but he does look really, really good image of him. But the film itself is terrible. I could forgive some elements of the film if it was actually good, but it's not very good at all. But this is the Scream Factory edition, which I'm happy to have because I want to have all the films, but it's a bad one, and not in a good way. It's just bad. Okay, I shall mess about with that at the end. And then obviously before the next generation there is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. No, it's Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, which I've seen a couple of times, but I'm not keen on it at all, so I'm not going to watch that. But I do need to pick it up on Blu-ray. Hop to 2003, you have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is the Michael Bay remake. It's his Platinum Dunes studio did it. Very good. They do what a remake should do, and they basically follow the original to some degree, but also put their own spin on it. So they've given the family, instead of being called the Sawyers, they're called the Hewitts. They have different characters, different backstory. There's no cook, there's no nubbins. The scene in the camper van's different at the beginning. Again, all different names and characters, same sort of feel to it. It's about Leatherface and the crazy family of cannibals and all that, but they add a lot to it, a lot to the mythos. And Arlie Ermey's Sheriff Hoyt's fantastic, and yeah, I think this is nearly on par with the original. Obviously the original's got more charm to it, and it is the original, so I do personally prefer that. But this remake is great. A lot of people hate it, but I think it's great. Absolutely awesome. I keep saying it's great. And The Beginning, which is a follow-up to the remake. This is 3 years later, 2006. It's a prequel story. Follows a lot of the same beats as the remake, sort of, but it's great. It's full of gore, which the remake was kind of had a gritty feel to it. Very smoky visuals, but this one ups the ante a little bit more, and it's more graphic. Sheriff Hoyt's crazier. He's back in it, which is fantastic to see. And a lot of things, character quirks from the remakes, characters, especially Leatherface and Sheriff Hoyt, you actually see how that comes about to be in this film. It actually goes back and shows you, for example, why Sheriff Hoyt's lost some of his teeth and little intricate things like that. And I thought that was great. I watched this again the other night. I've seen it a handful of times, and I think it's very good. This is a very flimsy case. It's a US edition, because I believe this doesn't have a UK Blu-ray, which is criminal really, but I don't suppose there's a lot of demand for it. I can't quite get it open at the moment. I did want to sort of show the disc. Let's faff about a bit. There we go. It's one of these crappy recyclable cases, but this could do with a Scream Factory release or something as well. Love to see the remake get a Scream Factory and that one, but that is The Beginning, which goes with the remake. Then another one I'm not too keen on, but I'm happy to have it in the collection. Jump to 2013, and you have Texas Chainsaw, which was shot in 3D, and when 3D sort of had a little stint where it came back, they did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They did Texas Chainsaw 3D. This one's set when Leatherface is older. The timeline's ridiculous because it tells the story of his relative who was a baby in the 70s, and that's 2013, and she's like 22, so the timeline's completely kerfuffled. It makes no sense, a bit like my ramblings, but it's quite a nice edition, got the slip and whatnot. It's not the worst of the series. It's a hell of a lot better than the Next Generation, and I do prefer it to Chainsaw Massacre 3, but the whole timeline thing with the with his young relative, I forget whether it's his niece or something, I can't remember, but the whole timeline kerfuffle, it's just ridiculous. But the film's okay-ish. There hit some okay notes in it. It's got gore in it and stuff. It's got some decent kills. The house in it looks quite good, but I'm just not too keen on it. I hope the new one sort of does the original justice, as that's a direct sequel to the original, so they're even forgetting part 2 with that one. Then 4 years later, 2017, you have another prequel, which is Leatherface, tells the origin story of Leatherface and the Sawyers, how they came to be. And it's actually not too bad. It doesn't feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. It just feels like a random sort of, I don't really know how to describe it, it just seems like a random horror film, like a road movie with a lot of blood in it and gore. Obviously they do reference the Sawyers in it, and they do, it is the origin story of Leatherface, but it does not feel like a chainsaw film, and I'm hoping the new one should do, as it's a requel and it's got a good team behind it, like the director, I forget what he's called now, is it Fede Alvarez or something? He did Don't Breathe and the Evil Dead remake, which are very good movies, so let's hope it'll be good. But that's Leatherface, and I'm done rambling. I just wanted to have a little talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre and talk about the Blu-rays that I have. Got quite the collection, actually. Not a massive collection. I've not got everything. Like I said, I wouldn't mind that Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 Arrow limited edition, but depends how much it goes for. Okay, goodbye.